And so success for your listeners can be pick something that you know is important to where you want to go. And as terrible and scary and daunting as it is, decide that success for you is going to be that you did it, not whether it turned out well. You could have blown it. That's one of the things that I changed in my own mind, is I started to decide I'm going to have my own back, and I'm going to be someone who is going to make my own dreams come true. And so I'm going to have your back. So every time you go and do something, if it doesn't go well, I'm not going to berate you after. I'm going to say, you know what? It completely blew up. You really messed it up. But it's a funny story to now tell. And success was that you did it, not that it went well.
Susanne, it is honestly lovely to have you on the show. I've been looking forward to this. I've done a little bit of research into you, but for anyone listening, we have never met. We've never spoken. And some of those have turned out to be my favorite episodes. So welcome. For everyone out there, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So my name is Susanne Biro. I am based just outside of Vancouver, BC, Canada. And for the last 24 years, I have spent my days listening to very successful people, senior leaders in organizations in probably every different industry I've probably worked across in many different parts of the world. And so I've spent my days listening to their, hopes, dreams, frustrations, aspirations, challenges as they seek to lead our organizations extremely well. So as you can imagine, I've gained a lot of insight into the patterns that create success, and not just success in leading a business or in an organization, but in enjoying our lives as we do so.
Oh, I love that. And you leave me intrigued. So we'll definitely come back to exactly what you do. And you said your day job. So I'm wondering, is there a night job?
A mother, housekeeper, janitor. I mean, yeah. We kind of do it all of us, don't
things. Yes, yeah. Yes. I actually made a joke on my own behalf. One day I said, for my day job, I do blah, 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 because I have two sides of my business. And then I was like, who am I kidding? My night job, I'm sleeping because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, every time, my favorite part of the show, going back in time to your younger you, that first job, that first dollar earned, what did you do?
My very first job, my dance teacher, I used to be a ballerina and tap dancer. My dance teacher got me, and it was to be a dancing duck on the side of the road. So I was advertising a toy shop, and I was in this massive, costume they're very hot to be in, and then to be dancing. And so I was the duck, my friend was the dancing pig, and I was very happy to be the duck because people did not say kind things to the pig as they drove by. I made $3 an hour. Yeah, that was my first job.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the first time I've ever heard about this. So you have to tell me, where were you? Because you said it's hot, and yes, I've never put on one of those costumes ever. I don't think. I have one of my friends who does it for the school, and I'm like, no, I'm a hard no.
They're hot and they're stinky. Yeah.
Oh, so what did you have to do? Were you like a ballet dancing duck?
We just had to dance on the side of the road to get people to go, hey, there's a toy shop here. Come on in and spend some money. So, yeah. So we danced around. We did anything to get attention. And again, people yell out various things as they're driving by. So, yeah.
This is the best ever. So cool. Yeah. How old were you?
Oh, gosh, 13, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That was harder than
cool.
money.
So you were the duck, your friend was the pig. I'm seeing the podcast cover now. That's very cool. Yeah. All right. And how long did you do this for? Was this maybe months,
6
years?
months or a year or something? Yeah. It was just my first gig, but it taught me a lot about marketing. I mean, it's everyone needs to market, everyone needs to sell, everyone needs to say, "Hey, we're here," and to not be shy. It was easy in a duck costume because you're not yourself, So marketing yourself, I think maybe for some of your listeners, I think is one of the hardest things that we do. And negotiating on our own behalf is one of the hardest things we'll do. We'll negotiate well on behalf of others, teams, companies, but when it comes to ourselves, most of us tend to downplay our worth and our value. So that's certainly something we can talk about later too.
Oh, yes. I feel like that could be a whole interview just on its own, definitely as a business owner. All right. So you were super young, dancing duck. I love that. And so it taught you a lot about marketing, and that we'll get into. What came after that though? What job did you do after you graduated from dancing duck?
Yeah. I didn't want to stay as a dancing duck. So waitressing at a cafe in a mall. Then came after that. My mother owned a barbershop in West Vancouver, which was a very high-end part of town, and she insisted that I be a barber with my grandfather, who worked part-time in there, and my older sister. My mother wasn't sure that a university education would pan out, because I was the first member of my family to even consider going to university. And so she said, you have to have a trade. You have to have a trade. And so I ended up working in my mother's barbershop for 13 years to put myself through school. But all of it, the waitressing, I think, is an incredible profession that many of us start out doing. Any kind of service industry where we're interacting with lots of people. Barbering was more so because I had very powerful men come into the barbershop. They were Supreme Court judges and company presidents, and I was touching them. So it's very personal. I have them for about half an hour, and I have to really create a great relationship with them. And what do they want to talk about? How, do they want to talk? And so it really taught me a lot about interacting with people. And then in the barbershop, very powerful men, which is a lot of what I have done now in my career. I say I learned more about what I do for a living now, working in the barbershop, than I have it throughout my, 10 years of post-secondary education to do what I do. Simply because it's about people. And behind very powerful titles is still a human being.
Yes, and I want to dig into that. Yes, I had a very powerful leader in my career, and just realized she's human, right? She just also has a husband, also has children, also, but she put up that facade of, I'm this powerful person, no one can touch me, but as soon as you just get a little bit close, then you understand. So I would love to know, what did you learn or story you can share with that, sitting behind, working with these powerful men?
Yeah, well, in the barbershop, I was like 17 when I started to work there. So I was, as any 17-year, I wasn't easily impressed. I mean, I'm 17. I don't really care what you do for a living. I care about, who's the cute boy at school and does he have a car? I mean, so it wasn't anything to me to interact with these men. So I would joke with them and, because I wasn't impressed with whatever car they pulled up with or whatever they were doing, it wasn't anything for me until I would realize years later, as I started to realize, how hard business is and to be impressed by these things. I already had these great relationships, and I would, I actually did my TED talk on my time in the barbershop and, or TEDx talk. And, one example is a man, I called him Al. It's not his real name, but I would say, I would just joke with him about his comb over, and he would say, "Don't take anything off the top." And I'd say, "Al, you don't have a top; it's the sides. You want me not to take anything off the side?" And then I'd learned that he was a Supreme Court judge, and I was like, "What? Like what? Why did you never tell me you're the Supreme Court judge?" And he said, "I loved that we could just talk as people."
Oh.
And I wasn't a particularly good barber. I would cut ears and people would still come back, and I'd be like, "Why are you coming back?" And they would say, "I just really like talking to you." And so I realized I need to do something career-wise where I'm just doing the talking part and eliminate the hair cutting part, because I'm not very good at it. And so, here we are later. So.
I love that. And I can see that from their perspective is it's just like, let's cut the walls, let's cut the, your perception. if you're coming to them, you know they're a Supreme Court judge, you're going to approach them very differently. You wouldn't make those jokes. And they probably just really loved, I'm also human, and remembering that. Like, yeah, so I love that story so much. And any waitress catastrophes, because if you were cutting people's ears, I don't know, were you an excellent waitress?
No, not really. I remember serving once and sitting back and going, like I watched my tables and I went, oh, this is great. I've really got it. And then I saw that two tables actually exchanged their food because I got their thing wrong. It's like, I'm not very good at that either. So there's a lot of things that I was not very good at that I had to go, I'm not going to be able to make a living at that. I need to find something else.
That's good. That's good to know that very early on. I figured that out too when I spilt a whole meal on someone's lap. And I was like, okay, not for me, not for me. So those lessons are very important. Okay, so from there, and then you said you were the first person of your family to go to college.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I went and did an undergrad in psychology. Then I went on to do 2 years at a technical school called BCIT. I did business with a specialty in marketing and communications. Then I worked for an advertising agency as an executive for several years. And it was there that I came across coaching by hiring my own executive coach, and just found the process invaluable. I mean, it changed how I thought, who I believed I was, what I thought was possible for me in my life. And I thought, I want to do that. And so then I went and did 2 years of coaching training. And then I went on to do my master's in applied behavior science with a specialty in coaching and consulting in organizations. And then every year that I've been in business, I will invest in one major learning event, whether it's a conference or a course or studying with someone, simply to get closer and closer to, what is the essence of success? How do we become more effective? And what does that even mean? And what makes, someone succeed in a certain situation and someone not? I mean, that has always fascinated me. By something can happen, and then people make up various stories about what it means about them, what it means about what is possible. And so I've always watched and studied people who are successful in any endeavor, like people who are really successful health-wise. How do they think? What do? They make different decisions. What is that way? People that are really good with money. What do they do? How do they think? What actions are they taking? And so in that way, there's so many ways for us to learn.
Mm-hmm. What drew you to get an executive coach from the beginning? What made you think that you needed that?
Well, it's a great question. Coaching was not really a known even career or industry at the time. My boss in advertising was going on to be a coach. She was taking coaching courses, and I said, oh, what's that? And she told me a little bit about it. And then one day she called me and said, I need a sample client for the program I'm doing. Would you be interested in being a sample client? Here's how it would work. And I said, absolutely. And so later that night she called me, and we had I had my first coaching session. And she said, this is all confidential. This is separate from, me as your boss here. And I believed her, and she was trustworthy. And I said, I hate my job. And we talked about that. And then I ended up hiring her, said, could I work with you ongoing? And so I hired her, and she ended up leaving to start her own coaching business. She encouraged me to, I was very junior at the firm, and I said, I can't afford coaching courses. I'd love to do this too. And she said, why don't you ask the CEO if he would support this? It's a development in you. And I said, he's never going to pay for this. I mean, I'm the most junior person on the totem pole, and this is thousands of dollars. And she said, well, why don't you just go and ask? Mm-hmm. So I went and asked. He said, sure, no problem. And that was like, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so that's how it began. But now it's such a known profession compared to when it was then.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, and I don't know when this was, but certainly when I was in corporate, if you got a coach, it meant that something was wrong, that you were not getting to the next level because something's wrong with you. It was like a performance intervention, and now it's just like, no, to be successful, you have a coach. It's, which I love that direction of the field, because I'll say I'm not ever running my business without a coach next to me, because it's hard, and your mental blocks and everything like that. Okay. So your CEO says yes, and I'm sure he didn't just say, or he, she, I'm not sure. I'm sure they didn't just say yes off the bat. Why do you think they said yes to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I made a nice business case for it, which we need to do. But I also had a great reputation as an extremely hard worker. My upbringing was such that you work really hard. So I knew, I never took lunch breaks. Not that I'm advocating that people don't do that, but I mean, when I joined as an executive at the ad agency, I was so excited to have that job. And I just thought, I don't know how easy it is. How does one get fired? Like, is it easy to get fired? Like, and so I never wanted to be at lunch and someone to need an answer to something I was handling, and for someone to say she's at lunch. That felt like laziness to me. So I was just, and I was in my 20s, so I just full out went above and beyond. So I had a really great reputation. So they were happy to invest in me. What do you want? You want a course? Absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Make a solid business case as to why this investment is worthwhile for whoever you're speaking to. What are they going to get out of it? But also everything leading up to that. Who are you day in, day out? Does so much work for us.
Yes. Oh, that is critical advice. So I just want to highlight that and repeat that. So it's the two things. It is the reputation. It is what you're doing day in and day out. And then secondly, building the business case for the person you're speaking with. I love that so much. And truly, I speak with so many people who say what you said. The CEO is never going to invest in me. I'm too junior. I'm this, fill in your own blank. And I say, well, have you even asked, and have you put together the reason? Because I was the same. I was first year in the job, and I was like, I want to do this program. Can I do it? And they said yes, because I had the business case and I worked hard as well. So yeah, I love that story, and I don't think we say that enough. Is that we have to ask. That's step one. Otherwise, of course, it's going to be a no, because they don't even know what you want to do. Yes. Oh yeah, love that story so much. All right, so let's okay, so then you did this. So what was the course? An executive coaching course? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so I went to be certified as a coach. Okay. And you can apply that coaching process to any focus. If you want to be, what's called a life coach. I wanted to work in organizations. It was my background. I had some experience there. So it's essentially just to be a certified coach. So I went and did that. I started my own business, ran that for a couple of years, simply by reaching out to my hair clients. A lot of them, again, were company presidents. They knew me and trusted me. They knew I was a good person. I worked hard. I showed up. I did the work. And so they were willing to bring me into their organization. And so then I had experience coaching within an organization, managing a corporate client, etc. And so I continued to do that. And my aim has always been I want to work with the most senior, experienced leaders in the world, simply because when they get supported and become the best and highest, clearest, focused version of themselves, they impact and touch so many critical decisions and so many people instantaneously. So I've spent 24 years of gaining the experience, the competence, the credibility, the reputation, so that now I can work with just a handful of CEOs and executive level leaders of largely billion-dollar companies. And it's work I absolutely love. I feel very honored to do it. These exceptional men and women trust me with information that they generally don't share with anyone else. And that's an incredible honor, because these are some of our world's best and brightest. So, as we look at career progression or, achieving our dreams, I think all these things take diligence, focus, patience, time, Achieving anything worthwhile takes just a lifelong dedication and focus, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Susanne, you've said a couple times now that you've been working on this for 24 years. So I want to go back 24 years. What was hard about starting? You said you had the relationships and, you started with a bit of a network from what I can tell, but building your business, even believing in yourself that you could do this. Tell me about that time.
Yeah. This won't be new to anyone who's listening, because I think it's the journey we all take when we go to achieve, some vision that we have within our mind, some dream that we have for ourselves. We will definitely go through all the fear, self-doubt. I mean, that is literally part of the journey. So I went from working in Canada Place, which was a very prestigious part of Vancouver, BC, Canada. It's the sales. I mean, you can't get a more wonderful office to work in. And having an important business card and being an executive and feeling like I was somebody doing some pretty important work, to being in a home office when no one was at home in their office at that time, and no one returning my phone calls. So it was 2 years of largely crying at my desk, thinking I should get a job, I need to get a job. I moved in with my sister and walked her dog so I could lower my rent with her. It was 2 years of grappling with myself. Can I do this? No one's taking me seriously. People that do know me or worked with me would say, what makes you think you can start a business? Who's going to hire you for that? I mean, even one of my friends at the time said, you had a really good job. What are you doing? Like, no one's going to hire you. And I remember thinking, God, even my friend doesn't, but something in me, thank goodness, went, no, I think this is valuable. It's what I want to do. And I just kept holding on to that really tiny little ember, and just one step in front of the other. But it wasn't with a lot of doubt, and it wasn't with a lot of poverty and tears. I mean, when I did my master's, it was an incredible investment. I've always paid for all my own education myself. And, I was at zero for years. I would make like $8,000, and then I'd get a bill for my master's program to pay, the installment of $8,000. And I'd somehow always be at zero well into my 30s. And I was like, I didn't really care, because I was loving what I did. I get excited every single time an executive hires me. I get an opportunity to meet with someone, walk with them, look at how they're thinking, what's limiting them, how they can free themselves up to be more effective and enjoy their life more, because those things are tied together. And so that is just endlessly exciting to me. And when I spend a lot of money on a whole bunch of learning for myself or some sort of course or something, I don't really care, because it's like, I can't wait to learn that or learn from, so I think the path to success is absolutely to find something that you are genuinely interested in, that lights you up, that you just can't even believe you get paid to do, because then you can deal with a whole bunch of years where it's very lean or you're in the red, because it's never about the money anyways. But I do believe the money, it has to come at some point. And when you're really good and you love what you do, you invest so much in it that you become really great in serving other people through it. So, but there were many years. But I not too long ago, I actually was listening to a panel of entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. Richard Branson was one of them, and there was another woman, and I didn't know her or her business. But they asked each of the panel members to describe entrepreneurship. And she said, I think entrepreneurship is sitting at your computer on a Friday night at 11 p.m. crying. And I said, great, I am an entrepreneur. So I think it doesn't really matter how successful we become, because being an entrepreneur means you're inherently interested in risk. You're excited by every single customer or the potential of a product or a service to make the world better. You're kind of unemployable, because it's like, I can't do what other people tell me to do. I have to do what I already foresee needs doing in the world. And I want to use all of my time to advance that. So if you want me to work on these other projects, I'm most interested in something I already see. And so, we're best served by taking a chance on ourselves, going and making that happen. And I think starting a coaching, like a personal development coaching business of any kind, is doubly hard because you are doing the work on yourself, and you must do the work on yourself while you are doing it with others. Like, I can't coach my clients past levels that I have not dealt with within myself. And so that's been very challenging because oh my God, like me and my colleagues will say, oh, it's so like we have to face every single fear we've ever had to do this work. But what I think is worthwhile for anyone who starts their own gig or takes risks to do something they dream of doing is the payoff is immense. Like going into your own development work and coming up with your own insecurities and fears makes you kind of like I feel like I'm a cat. Throw me off any ledge and it's like, I'll land. I've just known I've had to land so many times that I'm like, I'm good. I know how to recreate it. And that feeling is, I think we call it confidence, but it's priceless. To not have to live in fear so often, to go, I know how to handle things. I've handled a million things. What do you want me to do? I'll be fine. I can handle that too. Yeah. And I think that's the payoff, is it's who you become through the process.
Oh, I think we just need to have this whole talk as as little snippets. It's wonderful. And yes, and something you said earlier when you were answering this is holding on to that low ember. I think you said it, like that low belief in yourself that only you can have, right? Your best friend didn't see it. Everyone else didn't see it. It was you. It was you who saw it in you, and you just had this conviction. And something I've only learned recently was that confidence is built through action. You cannot wait to feel confident to do the thing. You need to do the thing to build the confidence. And that was mind-blowing for me. And it feels like that is what you did. You stepped into action, and through that, and you said, I think it's confidence, and that's what it is. But it's that you did the thing. So now you have the confidence because you can do the thing. You can land on your feet. Oh, I love that. I love that. And thank you for sharing that with us, because I think we're just not talking how hard it is. And that is exactly why this podcast exists, because, as I was starting my own business and I'm going on Instagram and everyone's earning, like gajillion dollars in a day, and all you have to do is these three things. And then these are such
lies. I was having this conversation.
And so this is what I want to talk to you about this, because you seem, you're an original. And now it's like all these 12-year-olds coaching people into millions of dollars. Tell me your perceptions and all of that stuff. I'd love to unpack that.
Well, first of all, I think we can't believe all this phony baloney hype that's out there. That it's not true. Anything really valuable takes enormous amount of effort and work and time to build. Whether it's great relationships with friends and family, those take effort, time, focus, intention. Having a really healthy, lean body. Effort, attention, focus, having a wonderful career that you love, effort, attention, investment over time. So there's no way out of that. So first of all, don't believe all the hype. Put your little blinders on and focus on where you want to go, and then continue to push. I've always thought, push the little birdie out of the nest. None of us want to do these things that scare us. My career has forced me to do things that I have been absolutely terrified to do, and I continue to be terrified. I just now learned to be somewhat comfortable with the uncomfortableness of it. I don't think the uncomfortableness goes away. It's that now that I know that feeling, like there's so often that I will do something and I'll say, can you really do this? And my answer to myself is, I'm not sure. The truth is, I don't know, but I'm about to find out. I'm going to find out, and I will walk onto a stage and I will go, okay, you're about to find out what you're made of. Mm-hmm. Can you handle this level of stage or this level of client? I have a podcast that I launched not too long ago called Deep Fear, because I thought I should talk about something I know something about, which is being terrified to do something. I mean, when I said yes to doing a TEDx talk, I was terrified for months. I mean, every time, the email came in of, checking in with the TEDx sponsor, I just, like, my heart sunk and I dreaded it. And I prepared and prepared and prepared and prepared and prepared. And then when they called my name to walk onto that little dot, I was like, you're about to find out what you're made of. Here goes. Let's see what you got. And then I delivered because I had prepared so well. And then the feeling after, again, is so worth it. I mean, I drove home. It was a one that I had to travel to. And so when I was traveling home, I was bawling my eyes out in the car ride home, just thinking, you did it. You did what so few will do. And so success for your listeners can be, pick something that you want, is important to where you want to go. And as terrible and scary and daunting as it is, decide that success for you is going to be that you did it, not whether it turned out well. You could have blown it. And that's one of the things that I changed in my own mind, is I started to decide I'm going to have my own back, and I'm going to be someone who is going to make my own dreams come true. And so I'm going to have your back. So every time you go and do something, if it doesn't go well, I'm not going to berate you after. I'm going to say, you know what? It completely blew up. You really messed it up. But it's a funny story to now tell. And success was that you did it, not that it went well. And usually it doesn't blow up in our faces, not when we, put in the work beforehand. And then the feeling is like, okay, if I can do that, what else can I do? And now it becomes a game. Where else can I work? Can I be in that room with those group of people and feel like I deserve to be in that room? And so it's continuing stretching ourselves. And then the payoff, it's so worth it, because we don't have to live in fear. It's like, okay, I know how to handle things. I know how to have a conversation with level of person and feel like I can add value to them. And then we increase our own real, value and belief in ourselves and our own self-esteem and our own identity of who we believe we are. That we believe I can add value here.
Oh, yeah. So many things came up in that answer. The number one thing I would want to reiterate is believing in yourself. That is huge. That is huge. So many people I work with, because I'm in learning and development, so training people, growing people, developing people, and they're waiting for someone else to say they're good enough, or for them to achieve something, however abstract that is, before they feel that, oh, I'm good enough, I can add value.
I think we have to do it afraid, and I think we have to do it terrified, and I think we have to do it not knowing, because my answer was always, I don't know whether I'm good enough to do this. I don't know. The truth is, I've never witnessed myself, I can fill in the blank, do whatever thing I was, I remember flying to deliver an executive offsite for a CEO and his team of senior executives, and I was so terrified that I actually prayed for the plane to crash on the way over, because I thought that would be easier. If the plane crashed, that would be so much easier than walking into that room and trying to handle that room of very powerful personalities for 2 days. But again, the plane didn't crash, so I had to do it. And I did it.
Thank goodness.
And I handled it well. And, things I learned I could have done differently, of course, always. But I got through it, and now I know how to do that. I know how to handle that kind of demanding personality, very powerful title, that room of tension filled, where a team didn't trust itself and trust each other. And so that's a lot of tension. So I think we need to do it afraid. But you don't need to throw yourself in the deep end of the swimming pool either. It's like that saying, do one thing every day that scares you, so you flex that muscle. So that you know how to, you can't wait. You got to do it afraid.
And what was the biggest challenge in that room with that team that didn't trust each other? What was, your personal experience? What was the hardest thing you overcame in those 2 days?
The hardest thing in that particular situation was the CEO was a 6'5" German man who was ridiculously intimidating to most people. There were things that he was doing in the room that was not serving the room and his team. And so I had to stop him mid-sentence in front of his executives and facilitate something that I thought was important for the team. And just the delicate nature of doing that so that no one needs to feel ashamed or embarrassed, that I can move the culture of the group and how this group communicates and interacts by modeling it, but also modeling what candor can look like and how it can be the kindest thing to do and how to do it with some sense of emotional intelligence. So that's a very fine line to walk when also the CEO is my client and paying my paycheck. So there was a lot of things to maneuver. Relationships to set up in advance of the session. Like, do I have permission to challenge you in front of your team? And these are conversations I'll have in advance with clients, where the boundaries lie. If something comes up, do you want me to take you aside? Can I do it right in the moment? So I had levels of permission, but it's still frightening because I can feel tension coming, and I can feel when there's something important I need to say, and I'm scared every time I say it because the voice comes in, who the hell do you think you are to say this to these powerful people? And then my answer is, well, who am I not to? Part of is the essence of my very job to make everyone hear better than they are and to point out things that I think can serve, not knowing whether they can. I can only bring in something to say, hey, it seems to me, or watch what's happening right now. This is part of what, you spoke about that you want to change, and it's occurring right now. So just walking, I think that's always my challenge, is walking the really fine line of modeling what truly effective communication can look and sound like to serve everyone around us and the task or business at hand. And there are multiple sensitivities always. So, I don't know how to get it right all the time. I know how to intend to do it well.
Yeah. And I feel this theme is coming out, and I love the deep fear name is exactly right. Do it terrified. And I feel that almost every single day running this business. Yeah. So yes. I can relate. So you work with corporate clients, and a lot of my listeners are in a corporate role. What are you seeing emerge? Are there certain trends? What's coming out of these environments that you're seeing in a positive way where work is going? That's what I want to try to get to. So the leadership, they're making certain decisions. What's changed over the years? Where do you see this going? Where do you see workplaces going with hybrid and globalization and AI and all of the things getting thrown at us? Where is work going? What are leaders doing to make it better?
Yeah, I'll start with the better is I feel so honored to work with the men and women I do. They're some of the best, brightest, most caring, diligent, hardworking people I've ever met, and positive people. They're interested endlessly in learning. They're interested in becoming ever more effective. I've seen over the years people very interested in feedback of how they impact others, right? Because it's not just what we do, it's how we do it and how we affect and infect other people. We become very powerful and we're very important to their lives. And so just recognizing that position of power, whether you're a parent or whether you're running a team or $1 billion organization as a CEO or a C-suite leader, you become something more than yourself. And what you say and how you say it really matters. Like recognizing other people matters. And we know this because we crave our whole lives, our mom and dad to say certain things to us, like, I'm proud of you. And the same thing happens in organizations where you become something so much more, almost like a parental figure to the men and women, and they want your acknowledgement and validation and insight and coaching. And like, do you see me? Am I doing good work? Are you proud of working with me? And so I love that the clients I've worked with have all been very, very interested in how they can do that better. And so I think there's just a real desire to be a strong, effective leader and leader of human beings. Yes, achieve the metrics for the business or the profits, but how you impact other people's lives, and then how it leads to great performance and how it leads to loyalty and people giving you their discretionary effort. I mean, it all points to the same thing. As far as the future, I feel like we are living through an unprecedented time of globalization, technological advancement, the advent of AI, and everything that's available and happening right now as you and I speak it's overwhelming. The amount of information coming at us, the amount of things changing. The only thing I know is I don't know what the next year, 2 years, 5 years will look like. I try to follow those at the forefront, the likes of Mo Gaudet, Peter Diamandis, and his collection of people who really are leading the way. And every single one of them will say, we don't know what the future will entail. It can look like this. It might look like this. It will probably look like a little bit of all of it. But it will be, I think, one of the most disruptive periods of time that perhaps, our generation has ever lived through. And lots of things are going to change. What that means, I don't know. Sometimes I get really excited by how much potential there is, especially in realms like healthcare and the impact and how it can improve our lives. And then I get overwhelmed with the idea of humanoid robots knowing and being suited up with all of human intelligence and actively thinking 24/7, making decisions on its own accord, and now being mobile in these massive things that can run like 60 miles per hour. I think we could all be wiped. It can run the gamut. So I try to pay attention to as much as I can, but without a doubt, we are being overwhelmed with the amount of information coming at us. And I think the greatest thing that I'm seeing with my clients is we really need to focus ourselves. We can only take in so much. And so being very intentional is, what do I surround myself with? What information do I consume from where? So, if you're watching social media, watch what you pay attention to, because you're going to get more of that. And if you get a lot of things saying, hey, take this 2-week course and you can make $1 million overnight, delete that crap right away. That none of that's true. And so pay attention to things that are real. Get real sources, people that are at the forefront of doing, and have the reputations that are worthy following.
Yeah, that is excellent advice. And I think you might be the first person I've met that knows Mo Gaudet. I read his book. I'm reading his book, listening to it again with my 10-year-old. He's all into this stuff. So, maybe we can have an offline meeting about that book, because I am dying to speak to someone about that book, and it seems like no one's read it. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Okay. Anyway, I digress. 2 more questions. Last, to wrap this piece up, is what are we not speaking enough about? And you've probably mentioned it throughout this time, but what do you think we need to speak more about when it comes to building a career, work, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in a corporate? What do we need to speak more about when it comes to building that we truly love? Because, I'm in your boat. I love what I do. I love it. I can do it every day. But what does that take to get there?
Well, I'll answer it this way. I think what I'm not sure it's speaking about, but maybe acknowledging to ourselves how hard human life is. It's a very sad story in some ways. We all grow old and die, and we know this, and we know it from a very young age, and we lose people. Life is filled, even the most successful life is filled with a lot of pain And there's nothing we can do to escape it, because it won't matter how much money you make or how fit your body is. At some point, you are going to grow old and die, and everyone around you that you know and love will grow old and die. That's the gig. And it's a hard gig, and it's painful to be human. So I think that just sort of, I don't know about you, but it frees me up to go, okay, there's nothing wrong when it's hard and you feel like, if you're looking at the wrong social media, you think everyone's living this fantastic life. No, most human beings' life inside is hard. And if it's not, even if it's not hard, they're busy creating their own personal hell in their mind by what they think and what they focus on. And so I think the only choice we have, and this might be where we sort of wrap things up too, is I spent the last year writing a book that is ready to be published soon, called This Could Be Everything, for anyone who wants to make their tomorrow better than today. And the essence is, there's not enough things we can line up out there to really feel okay on the inside. And what we're seeking is to enjoy our lives. Like, the only reason we want things out there is so that we can feel okay, safe, loved, something successful enough to be able to relax and enjoy our life. But we can't do it outside in. And you can see all kinds of very successful people that seem to have everything, but still don't feel the way they want to feel daily. So I'd say, let's go inside out. Nothing in the book will be things that have not been written about before, because there's really nothing new. What is and can be new is our ability to apply it. So I wrote what I hope is a very short, applicable read with a couple of big ideas, and a way to apply that is to decide, how do you want to feel in your life? Like, do you want to be excited, inspired? Do you want to feel connected to yourself and others? Great, then learn to foster those feelings now. They will then have you do the things you want to do to obtain the things that you want in the world. But you don't need those things in order to feel it. Because what we're really seeking is a way to just feel alive and enjoy our lives in whatever time that we are here, so that we have the inner capacity to deal with all the 1,000,001 problems that leadership and life and business bring us. Because there's a whole lot of things that are just other than we wish them to be. Life is frustrating. I mean, you can live in the most beautiful place in the world and have all the money in the world, but then you're going to sit in traffic like the rest of us. I mean, you're not going to escape these things, or your family's still going to drive you crazy. I mean, it doesn't matter. And so what kind of way do you want to feel inside? And we need to learn how to come home to ourselves. Then the world can do what it's going to do, and we have the wherewithal, we can bring humor and levity and laughter and enjoy the process of handling these challenges, or dealing with this difficult personality, or just doing whatever is going to come to us. But we can do it with much more joy and much more success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When is this book coming out?
Oh, thank you. I think it should be available in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So,
I need to be the first one to buy this book.
To get
sounds amazing.
Advanced. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was 24 years in the making, and 3 years to painstakingly write, because I don't think people need a lot of information. They need something they can use and take to improve their life today. Mm-hmm. And so that's the great hope for it.
Yeah, it must have been harder for you to leave stuff out than you probably had 7 books in you by this point. So yeah, I cannot wait. By the time this actually goes live, your book will be available. So we'll have Fantastic. The link in the description. All right, Susanne, we always wrap up with one final question. Mm-hmm. If you could go back to younger you, your 20-year-old self, or however old you want to go to, what would you thank yourself for doing then? We give ourselves a very hard time. Oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, but I just do not believe that. I love my 20-year-old self for all the mistakes. So what would you thank yourself for doing then that got you to where you are today?
I would thank myself for always putting exercise and health at the forefront. There were so many days that I did not want to go to the gym, work out, choose the healthy option over something else. And in my 20s, it was all vanity. I wanted to look good, at the club. But thank goodness for that, because it created in a lifelong habit of knowing how hard it is to stay fit and lean. And the payoff as we get older is incredible. I mean, it's just how I live my life now. I'm not in any pain, where I can do things that peers of mine cannot do, places I can go that my peers cannot go, simply because they're not healthy or well enough to do it. And so I honestly thank myself often to say, thank you for all the days that you didn't want to do it and you did it, because it's not the kind of thing you can pull off overnight. You either put in all the diligence of, lifting weights and eating well, or you didn't. And I'm so glad I did, because without our health, we can have all kinds of dreams, but without our health, we have nothing. And all we want, then we only have one dream, is I would love to feel good. Mm-hmm. So it's the most invaluable investment we can make into ourselves. Mm. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to play that clip to my children. You think I'm on their case about eating too much sugar all the time, and they don't see it. And I'm going to play that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not at all. It's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Who should reach out to you to work with you if they're just listening to this and thinking, oh, I need this lady in my life? Who should reach out and the work you do and all of that, where your career is going next?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. I just work with a handful of CEOs or C-suite leaders. So if you are, a CEO leading a very large organization, I may be a good fit to work one-on-one. Otherwise, what I tried to do over the last couple of years is create ways that people can access what I think will serve them well, which is I have an app, I have a book, soon to be book, and then I have a podcast. And so those are very inexpensive or free ways for you to take if any of this connected with you, and continue to get inspired from it, or to get an insight or tool or something you can use. Everything I do, I want to serve other people. It's like, here's something that can matter, that can really make life better, or your leadership more effective, or your communication clearer. And so, so please avail yourself of any of those if that can be helpful.
Fantastic. And of course, we'll have all the links in the description, so we don't need to get into that. Thank you so much. It has been my honor to get to know you more and learn all about your career and your story. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome. Thank you.